Changes to the Season of Conquest are landing very soon, but that patch has so many things it still doesn't address. So in this video, I want to talk about the 7 major changes I think Rise of Kingdoms could use to really spruce things up. Hello, my friends, and welcome back. I'm Chisgule Gaming, a sponsored content creator for Rise of Kingdoms, and today we've been thinking a lot about the things that would improve this game, so here we go. The 7 things I think would be game-changing for Rise of Kingdoms. If you like Rise of Kingdoms guides that help you get value and smash your enemies, then do me a huge favor and smash that subscribe button for those daily Rise of Kingdoms videos. The first thing on our list is very simply protecting the new player experience. There are now 2 experiences in Rise of Kingdoms. There's everything leading up to the Season of Conquest, and then there's the Season of Conquest. Well, it is really ridiculous, in my eyes, that I could take a roster of commanders like this, bring it back to KVK Season 2, and use a whole bunch of commanders that players in that kingdom have not even had a chance to get yet. No, I think if you make the choice of migrating back to a kingdom that is still in KVK 1 through 3, the only commanders you should be able to use are the commanders that are available in that kingdom's natural cycle of progression. After you get back into the Season of Conquest flow, sure, use whatever commanders you want because everybody can use everything. So I would get rid of this listing up top with the number of days old a kingdom needs to be to sort of use some of the commanders that get released later and later into the game. That's a sort of fragment or a leftover of the way that the migration system used to work. Now there's 2 experiences. Let's protect the new player experience. And also, by the way, I think it is outrageous that I could bring gear like this, that I could bring gear, I don't know, we'll just look at it, like all of this insane gear, stuff that is also inclusive of KVK rewards back to KVK Season 2 and 3. That's outrageous. I think that KVK gear from the Season of Conquest should not be usable before the Season of Conquest. That way, you don't have people migrating back. They already have some insane gear. I almost would say you can't bring any legendary gear back, like you bring it with you, but you can't use it, except that, you know, you could technically access the legendary gear in KVK Seasons 1 through 3. But what I'm trying to say is we must protect the new player experience, gear and commanders, so that it's fair, right? Like Zenobia running around is ridiculous for KVK Season 3. It should be whatever those native kingdoms have access to. The next thing is also oriented toward new players to make sure that their experience is great. And that thing that I'm looking for, you all know it and love it, it's skill lock. We got to get skill lock going. There are some commanders that would be so much fun to use. More people would really enjoy them. It would bring into balance much, much more the gap between free-to-play, pay-to-win. Skill lock, baby. Not going to talk about it more than that because I think we've talked about it enough in other videos. Card up in the top if you want to know which commanders I think you should be skill locking. But I do think I need to talk about this until it happens because it's so good for the game. Number 3, there really should be more ways to get the darn Books of the Covenant you need to upgrade your castle. New player experience. I'd like new players to get to the end game faster so they can have a max cap rally. I'd like them to be able to get to the end game faster. You could spend your gems on it. In fact, now you sort of have to prioritize your gem spending on Books of the Covenant, and you got to go into the shop right over here and buy ridiculous amounts of these Books of the Covenant. I would like there to be more free-to-play ways to go and do that. I'm not saying you got to completely span the gap of where it is now for a free-to-play player to getting them all 100% free-to-play, but I'm just saying let's close the gap a little bit between having to spend a bunch of gems on this and not. I think that would be great for the game. Number 4, fights in Rise of Kingdoms, big kingdom wars, need to last more than a few hours. They can't be these short events. Look, my KVK Season 3, we had 6 full days of fighting. 6 full days before it was decided. And then, by the way, we still had more to do. The reason I'm mentioning this is because today you have a Kingsland battle, and I could probably find a Kingsland map. We could go look at one if we wanted. But you have a Kingsland battle that lasts like 4 to 10 hours. It should be so long that you go to work and you don't know what's going to happen, and you come back from work, and then you battle, and then the next day you go to work. Like it should be something that takes place over a long period of time so you can't miss the action, right? So that you can get in on it at some point when it's convenient for you, rather than how it is today where like you have to mold your life around the 12 hours of this Kingsland fight, or GG, you missed it. You fully missed it. Now, what we're looking at here is a different map, and I'm very much looking forward, by the way, to the Strife of the Eight, because I think it is more likely to bring that 6-day fight goodness sort of a situation. I think that Heroic Anthem is a very cool map, but it has you so much on the rails in the same way that, Light and Darkness does, that I don't know that you're going to get those crazy, insane, long-duration fights in the same way that you would over in a map like this. Maybe you will. I mean, some kingdoms certainly have had insane Season of Conquest battles in Heroic Anthem, but it shouldn't have to be a 2v6 in order to get that. You see what I mean? I'd like there to be fair fights that last a long time so that you can play whenever you want. Now, on the topic of fair fights, if you leave KVK after matchmaking has happened, you see, in order to get really great fights, matchmaking has to be good. In order for matchmaking to be good, people need to stay for the duration of the KVK and hopefully participate. So I think there ought to be some sort of like deserter debuff if you leave your KVK early. Like if Kingsland's about to happen and you migrate out of your kingdom, I think there should be a deserter debuff. And I know some people aren't going to like that, but I think it should be something serious, like minus 20% training speed for the number of days that were left in your KVK. Get wrecked. And then you deserted your kingdom. And so in order to have great KVK matchups, we go through a matchmaking period. If you are contributing to your KVK's matchmaking for your kingdom, you should have some sense of obligation to stay and participate in that KVK, right? Some incentive to go and do so. And I don't think this is a huge problem. And I get that there's downsides where you might say, oh, well, people will just sit there and not do anything for the rest of the KVK. I'm sure there's more thought that could go into how to make that a really fun, fair matchup. But I think this is just one piece of the puzzle, addressing people that are leaving a KVK in the middle. The other piece of the puzzle is ending the extreme manipulation that takes place of KVK matchmaking. And everybody knows what I'm talking about. You all know, and especially Imperium kingdoms are the most guilty. And I'm not saying my kingdom is free of this either. You can see right over here, we've got this Imperium marker, okay? Top 32 ranked by power. But this should be a mark that is more permanent in nature. Right now, it fluctuates. It's here, it's there. You could fill up your hospitals and we could leave Imperium. That's right. We could leave Imperium and rejoin Imperium and be one of like the highest kingdoms in Imperium rank within like a 24-hour period. It's insane. There is a ton of manipulation of power. That is hospital filling. That includes players staying offline after KVK ends. That has included players not collecting their troops after KVK and not logging in to avoid that. There should be zero ability to manipulate your matchmaking ranking, okay? And your kingdom ranking. Whatever it is, it should be legit. People say they want to have great KVKs. They say they want to have tough KVKs. And then they pack their kingdom so full of players that they can't ever get a fair fight because their kingdom is billions of power higher than every other kingdom, right? Like, I get powering up a kingdom, but what I'm trying to say is all of that is an artifact of the manipulation that you can do. And if we remove the manipulation, the hospital filling ridiculousness just to start, then boom, a lot of those problems go away. The kingdoms will start to balance out in terms of power, and I think we'll get more fair fights. The next thing that I think would be really quite nice, if we get a look at equipment, I mean, we just gotta talk about this for a second. You all know that I've not gotten many special talent legendary equipment, and I just think that it would be nice if there was some transparency to this. This is something where literally endgame players are spending thousands and thousands of dollars. Like 50% or more of my spend is to bundles that are focused on equipment. Probably more than 50%. I would say 80% or more of my spending in this game, and I spend $2,000 a month, is toward equipment. Let me put it this way. The majority of my endgame progression is all about these special talent legendaries. And as a player, I have no transparency or clue into exactly how to get special talent legendaries other than just smashing the button and hoping for the best. If there's something more to it, it'd be nice to know what it is. I mean, look, I've never spent thousands of dollars before in my life on something where I didn't know how it worked or what it did. And that's exactly what we're all doing on special talent legendary equipment. So I think it would be quite nice to know how it works and also to get a better sense into like if there are things we can do to improve our odds, because some number of players, oh my God, they just get so lucky and they have like 5 or 6 special talented legendaries and they're shooting like a 50% success rate. And then there's the rest of us. I'm not just complaining. I'm just saying transparency around this will be really nice. The number 7 thing in my list is very simply a role for siege units. Gosh bless the noble siege unit that has basically no purpose except to take up space and I guess go get loot when you're gathering, but T1s you could do that with. I would like siege units to have an actual, like, meaningful role, okay? We've got 4 units. One of them is not exciting. Why not have all 4 be exciting? I think that would be a super achievable thing. It would be a way to add some commander diversity. I don't know that the whole equipment system is even designed to handle that right now, so I don't know how that would be brought into balance. There's certainly a lot that would need to go into consideration there, but literally as an Imperium Kingdom, we went and we deleted a whole bunch of siege units, card up in the top if you want to see that ridiculous operation, in order to literally manipulate our Imperium rank in order to actually bring more players into the kingdom, because siege units are not worth much right now. So that whole thing, in my eyes, is weird. Players should not be deleting their troops. It doesn't make any sense. There should be 0 situations where it's like, yes, that is correct, and it was correct in my eyes. So that's something I would like to see change. Now, in addition, there are 5 things that I didn't include in this list that I would say are nice quality of life items that I want to run through real quick. The first one is a fort finder. I would love a fort finder. I can't find forts. I can only find barbs. It's kind of a pain in the butt to find forts. And in my estimation, the reason we don't have that is that people would bot it, and forts are just too valuable to allow or even create a potential situation where botting is possible. I feel like people are going to bot it anyways. I don't know. And then equipment presets. Gosh bless, please. Equipment presets will be nice. I've found ways around it. Everybody does. But at some point, it would be kind of nice to have some presets. You smash a couple buttons rather than spending 10 minutes kind of moving your gear around. This is especially true during a KVK if you're switching between captains or rally leads. What a pain in the butt. The next thing that I think would be a nice quality of life boost would just be pick 1 resources in the Wheel of Fortune. Small ask. Pick 1 resources in the Wheel of Fortune instead of the resources they have. I don't think that'll ever happen, but it sure will be a nice quality of life change, because the reality is that a T5 player basically needs gold above all other things, and I'd like some pick 1s to be able to go and get that. The other thing that I would like is a way to trade different types of speed ups. And I know we have a little bit of this, but it would be nice if we had more of it, where I could trade my building speed ups for training speed ups, my research speed ups for training speed ups. Like, I got all these speeds in here because it was correct to do these events as a spender that give you these things that I don't need. It's weird to spend for things you don't need. You see what I mean? I don't know. It's kind of like gold keys, I guess. They lose value over time, but should they? Next up, and this is the last thing I'll share here, is that it will be nice if we had something other than puzzle verification, or a way to deal with puzzle verification in advance of when it's going to pop up. That way, you're not like in the middle of a fight in KVK and you get wrecked because you have your verification pop up. You know what I mean? Like, it'd be nice if we could maybe pre-verify, or I don't know. I know I'm not the person who's going to figure out how to stop botting, but I do know that it's a pain in the butt to have verification pop up in the middle of a fight, or in the middle of Ark of Osiris, or any of these other things where it's like, come on, really? I was doing stuff, you know? I'll be eager to hear down below what your thoughts are. What are some things that Rise of Kingdoms could use? And do you think this next patch is going to start to close the gap? I'm really hyped. Somebody's going to win $50 from the prediction video that we did as soon as we've got the details around the changes to the Season of Conquest. So subscribe so you don't miss a thing, including future contests. And until next time, you have fun smashing the kingdom.